when you're a competitive lifter, power lifter, weight lifter, whatever it is, and I'm making generalizations here, everything's a cock measuring contest because everything that we gauge ourselves on is who's stronger than who on what. You know, so he can sit there and it's going to drive him fucking crazy to know that somebody just beat him on something, you know, so he's going to try to get up there and beat them too. You know, what you got to remember is you need to pull them into your world and say, hey, cool, man, great chin. Let's go do some squats. Let's go do some, cleans, you know, and then bring it back that way. But he's probably strong enough to definitely make, you know, and do fairly well in the nationals in Olympic weightlifting. You know, keep working the technique, work the explosiveness, you know, bring up the lower back. He can probably do whatever he wants to do with that. He's got the build, you know, he's got the structure for it. You know, so my thing is, you know, go for it. Forget the stupid shit. You know, at least give it the best run you can if that's what you want to do. That way you can walk away no regrets. You know, right now, you know, if you do it and you walk away, you're like, fuck, man, I shouldn't have done the stupid chin-ups. You know, there's regrets. You know, so fucking do it right. I mean, you've studied training to a certain degree. You know what you need to do. You do what you need to do. Use the other shit for the conditioning.
Do you find, like, as we get older, because I just got injured and then I took like a 12-week hiatus, and I find like the first muscles to go on me are like my erectors, my lower back, my back. And does it take like that 4.5 years of training that I've put through to build those erectors and build those small little muscles everywhere?
The erectors are going to always be, when you're dealing with the weights that you lift, training-wise, and the heavier stuff that you lift, torso, abs, and erectors have to pretty much stay. Like I said before, I could never skip doing abs and reverse hypers. I fucking hated them, but I had to always do them. It's not like that needs to be the strength where Matt Smith has done an 800-pound good morning. Okay, squats 1140 or something like that. You don't need that, but you have to be able to keep them in shape. So the worst thing that you can do is if you get hurt, you back off from the erectors and the torso training, because that's where that transfer power all comes from. And that's where your greatest risk of getting hurt is going to be, is when you take off because of an injury of a shoulder or something like that, and then those other muscles, not the shoulder, give way, then you come back into the regular regimen, and now that's not there. So I don't know if it's really an age thing. Injuries do come with age, and you're going to have a whole lot more of them. Well, it's part of the game. If you're powerlifting, Olympic weightlifting, strongman training, injuries are part of the game. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's just when is it going to happen? You know, that's just the nature of it. And accepting it is the way it is. But I've seen people come back from everything. You know, so what you don't want to do is you want to make sure that injuries that do happen because of flukes. You know, I call it excuse injuries. The bar fell out of the groove. You know, I racked it and broke my finger. I was front squatting and, you know, the bar slipped. Okay, you want the injuries to come from that. You don't want the injuries to come from overtraining, okay, because you can control that. Okay, that's your programming that controls that. You need to be in tune with yourself enough to know when to blast, when to dust, and that becomes very hard. But you're the only person that can do it, because a coach can't, because he's not in your body. But that's where it's tough as a lifter, because you're like, fuck it, I gotta go. You know, when you're locked in, okay, right now you're probably not locked in. When you're locked in, you're locked in. You're gonna do whatever you gotta do to get to the meet. Right? That's when you gotta become your best coach, because that's when you gotta become your greatest critic, because that's when you're your own worst enemy too. Right? Because you're like, fuck it, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. And push it that way. You don't want injuries to come from shit you can't justify. All right, and that's why I keep harping your ass about, you know, getting hurt doing something. Like, well, why were you doing that? What will that do to help your clean and jerk snatch? Nothing. It's like, so you're telling me that you got hurt doing something that's not going to help you advance forward in any way whatsoever. Don't do that. All right, because that is me as a lifter. That's the shit I would never be able to live with. All right, but you know what? It happens. And it's going to happen again, because we all do stupid shit. All right, it's just you want to try to stop from doing stupid shit, 100% of the time and just do stupid shit like 20% of the time. Because we're all still gonna do it. You're gonna have days you're gonna work up when you know you shouldn't work up, just because you're pissed off because you feel weak. You're gonna have other days you feel really strong and you know you should walk away because you're ahead of plan, but you're gonna fucking go for it anyhow. You know, that's just the way it is. And that's not bad, because regardless of whatever has been wrote, you know, about the Russian programming, Bulgarian program, from what I was told from Mel Sif, they do the same shit everybody else does. They go in and they make it up on the fly. When you get to a certain level, everything is totally programmed on the fly. And the reason for that would be, I'll use powerlifting as an example. When we went in for max effort day, you know, everybody's thinking, oh, Westside was so organized. Man, we walked into the gym and we all sat on benches. And we said, well, what are you doing today? And he said, I don't know, what are you gonna do? I don't know, what's Lou gonna do? Nobody had a clue. We just knew we were gonna do a max effort movement. We had no idea what it was. And we'd sit there and argue about it for 5-10 minutes. You know, who's gonna do what? And then finally we would determine something. We didn't know what we were gonna do after that, because that all kind of depended on how we felt after the first exercise. I could be completely shot and be done, or I could feel good and we could do more. I call it being audible ready. Okay, and the higher you get as a lifter, the more audible ready you have to become. One of the greatest statements I ever heard is George Halbert's one of the best bench pressers of all time. I don't know his numbers, but like 740 at 220 or something. Somebody came in the gym and he just did a 700-pound 2 board press, and they close grip. And they said, George, what are you going to do for your tricep next? He said, well, what exactly can I do for my triceps that didn't just do? Extensions, push downs, you know, and he's got a point. But if it was a day where he felt like he could do more, he probably would have done more. Yeah, go ahead.